There's not just one book, but one book that I read a lot as a kid was Harriet the Spy, and I didn't think about it as being about writing at the time, but now I realize that Harriet is this little girl trying to figure people out. She's writing in her notebook, she's trying to figure out what makes people do the things they do, and I was a little bit like that as a kid, and that might have fed into it. I tend to write about things that I don't understand, but that intrigue me or puzzle me. So when I start writing, I'm often thinking, why would someone do that? Or how could someone get themselves into this kind of situation? And then in the process of writing, that's how I figure out who this person is, what the story is. I'm always writing from a place of not understanding to a place of understanding a little bit more. I think because I was almost an only child when I was a teenager. You know, when I was in high school, my sister was well out of college, living on her own. I had a lot of friends who had big families, and I was always really interested in how things worked. There was always someone around. There was always somebody who you were arguing with, but there was also always someone who was taking your side. And I really wanted to explore that dynamic. And so I thought a lot about what I had seen from other families and how those allegiances kind of shift within the family. You know, who's taking whose side, who's standing up for who, who's ganging up on who. All of that was kind of what I wanted to reproduce. I tend to write at home a lot. I'm lucky enough to have a spare bedroom in my house that I use as my office, so I can have all of my sort of motivational signs there, and you know, art and everything set up that I want, and my snacks. But every so often I do find that I need to get out into the world, and then I often find myself going to the Cambridge Public Library. There's something about being surrounded by books, by being surrounded by people who are looking for what they want to know, who are also there kind of trying to figure things out or learning or studying, that just kind of gets my brain going when I feel stuck. My writing day tends to focus itself around my son's school day. So when my son is at school, I'm supposed to be at the desk writing. So he goes off to school and I go upstairs to my office with a cup of tea and sit down. Usually try and read over what I did the night before, and either I'll read it over and go, okay, I can work with this, or more often, oh, this is terrible and I need to change this immediately. But either way, I can usually get going on something. And I'll write, have a lunch break, and then keep going until about 2:30 or 3 when it's time to go and get my son, and then the day is done. For me, the writing process always comes from character. I think what draws me to writing is actually just that I'm interested in people and what makes them tick and how weird and idiosyncratic we are. So the plot always comes out of these characters. I try to get to know the characters like I get to know people that I meet, like people at a party. And once you know them well enough, you kind of know what they're going to be interested in. You kind of know what would happen if they run into each other, what their points of friction or tension are going to be, and then the story kind of evolves from there. I tend to joke with my husband that I have no other marketable skills other than writing, so I'm really glad this worked out. I was a terrible waitress. You know, I would make a terrible drill sergeant. One thing that I did do for a while as sort of a side job was I was a miniaturist. I made scale miniatures for dollhouses and collectors. I would make little foods, or I'd make little furniture. It didn't really pay the bills, but it was something I really enjoyed doing, and so if I couldn't be a writer, maybe I would be a miniaturist, making tiny little animals and tiny little foods. I'm lucky that I've been getting to do a lot of events for Little Fires Everywhere, and so I haven't been doing as much writing as I would like to be doing, but I'm starting work on a couple of new projects, and I have 2 ideas for new novels, and I'm trying to see which one of them is sort of gonna step to the front.